Hey everyone, and welcome to Inside Gaming, and today we're taking a look at Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. What a mouthful. Yes, after skipping the 2018 Olympics, Mario and Sonic are back for the 6th entry in their titular Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series. Once again developed by Sega's Sega Sports R&D team, Tokyo 2020 runs on the Hedgehog 2 engine, which was first used for Sonic Forces back in 2017. Unfortunately, that also means it retains a lot of the clunkiness that was seen in Sonic Forces as well. So let's jump into the overall presentation with graphics first. You could forgive the game for less visual polish because it's a minigame compilation, but if you compare Tokyo 2020 to last year's Super Mario Party, it looks flat and lifeless. Which, to be fair, Super Mario Party was developed by Nintendo, and they know their characters and aesthetic better than anyone else. But games like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle show that third-party developers can add that familiar Nintendo flair to crossover games. It's unfortunate that after 6 entries, Sega struggles with that kind of visual polish. It makes Tokyo 2020 stand out, and not in a good way. And this may just be me, but in the Tokyo 1964 minigames, seeing the 8-bit Mario sprites next to the 16-bit Sonic sprites looks weird. I prefer using the Sonic characters since they better indicate when you're performing an action. Using the Super Mario World or Super Mario Bros. 3 sprites would have been way more effective. I also get that they were going for an ultimate retro vibe with the original sprites nodding to each series' origins, but it just felt off playing as the Mario characters in the 1964 events. Okay, but how does the game actually play? We'll break this down into the 3D Tokyo 2020 minigames and the 2D Tokyo 1964 minigames. And since there's more of the 3D minigames, let's start there. There are 24 events in total, including the 100-meter dash, triple jump, skateboarding, boxing, archery, equestrian, and a variety of dream events, which are more Mario Party-esque minigames. In addition to these, upon completing the story, you'll unlock 10 more minigames in the game room. Tiny nitpick, but once these new minigames are unlocked, you'll have to navigate to an entirely separate menu to play them. And they're all only single-player games. Anyway, each minigame features a variety of control schemes: dual Joy-Con, single Joy-Con, and buttons only. If there's any logic behind which control schemes work with which games, I couldn't figure it out. On top of that, the dual Joy-Con variations changes next to nothing from the single Joy-Con version. The only difference is alternating which Joy-Con does what. Motion control usability varies from event to event. Some work well, like skateboarding, archery, and boxing. Other events, 100-meter hurdles, equestrian jumping, and fencing, feel like they were ripped right from the awkward early Wii days where motion controls only kind of worked. Buttons-only controls fare only slightly better, as there's a small delay between pressing a button and the action happening on the screen, which is the ultimate downfall of the game. A good amount of the minigames are specifically about timing your movements or button presses just so. And all control variations have their faults in not allowing players to accomplish these easily. And while they're single player only, the game room minigames are fun, but not fun enough to warrant returning to the game after playing them just a few times. Meanwhile, the 2D minigame assortment is drastically smaller, featuring only 10 events. And they range from, oh, that's it? To, when will this end? The 1964 version of 100-meter dash is press A really fast, and while it makes sense, it's not really fun. 400-meter hurdles adds in a press B at the right time element to that, but it's so simple and quick that it hardly registers as anything, let alone enjoyable. The big offenders for the when will this end category are volleyball and marathon. Marathon is actually a nice switch up from the 100-meter dash and adds a variety of challenges that stand in your way of nabbing the gold medal. But about halfway through the minigame, you're almost begging for it to end, as you'll hit the same cycle of press A, wait, press A, wait, grab some water, press A, wait, for far too long. If this event was half the length, I'd probably have liked it a lot better. Volleyball is where my prime issues come from for the Tokyo 1964 minigames. Hit detection is off, the game tries to play itself by moving characters around, which gives you no incentive to do anything but, you guessed it, press A to hit the ball. And while your characters might have a slight hit indication as to when the ball was hit or missed, the AI doesn't. So it appears as if the AI misses every time, which is visually very confusing. Shooting is the standout here and is extremely reminiscent of Duck Hunt, which makes it feel different and unique compared to almost every other minigame in the entire game. Alright, it's finally time to talk about the story of Tokyo 2020. Allow me to entice you with the following excerpt. Dr. Eggman and Bowser have formed a powerful alliance in their latest plot to defeat Mario and Sonic. Their plan? Unleashing Eggman's latest invention, the Tokyo 64 console that contains the power to pull users inside a 2D game themed around the Olympic Games, Tokyo 1964. Will they ever safely return from the game world of 1964? And if so, how? Which sounds pretty neat, if a bit cliche. But good gosh, does this story mode overstay its welcome by filling in time between the Olympic events with way too much visual novel style storytelling, and it never seems to end. Mario, Sonic, Dr. Eggman, and Bowser are all brought back into the retro time of the Tokyo 1964 Olympic Games due to a mishap by Luigi. They must collect gold medals to return to the real world, all while the classic good guys versus bad guys trope plays out in an almost paint-by-the-numbers style. Ending, of course, with a team-up to escape an impending disaster. Meanwhile, Luigi and Tails, who are joined by the rest of the cast of playable characters, try their hands at helping the trapped group find a way to escape. Their perceived solution to this is to also win gold medals and eventually participate in events to charge an excitement battery. The story does the job, but I feel the time spent here in development would have been better off used making the minigames actually fun to play and adding more of them. So we handled the graphics and all the minigames, but what about the music and the sound effects? This is where the game finds most of its charm. And you've actually been listening to the game's musical tracks throughout this review. The modern music is varied in tone depending on the scenario and story mode or by location and event, while the retro music hits all those NES and Genesis blips and bloops just right to trigger some nostalgia tingles. The main overworld themes for the world maps in both 2020 and 1964 are wonderful background tracks. And every event in the 1964 games is full of sound effects that would fit right at home in any NES title. Alright, it's time for some nitpicking. The Tokyo 1964 events feature only 8 playable characters, 4 from each franchise. Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser from Mario, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Dr. Eggman from Sonic. On the other hand, the Tokyo 2020 events have 32 playable characters to choose from. Sort of. There are a set of basic characters that are playable in every event, but certain special characters are unlocked for certain events and only those events. Espio can be played in the triple jump, Diddy Kong is exclusive to Rugby Sevens, Toadette for the 100-meter hurdles, Zavok for boxing, Zaz for table tennis, Rouge for sport climbing, Eggman Nega for karate, Wendy Koopa for 100-meter freestyle swimming, Ludwig Koopa for fencing, Rosalina for surfing, Jet for football or soccer, and Larry Koopa for equestrian jumping. So that's 12 characters that can only be played in one event each, meaning only 20 characters can be used in every event. It is nitpicky, but it's pretty lame to have these be event-exclusive characters. Yes, the previous titles have done something similar, but with the gap between the last game and this one, now would have been a great time to really build up that roster. At the end of the day, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 isn't polished or fun. Clunky controls hold it back from being a fun minigame compilation to bust out at a party, the story's pacing causes it to drag on far too long, and there isn't enough unique content or memorable moments to make Sonic and Mario's trip to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics anything more than a mediocre series of minigames.
I've always been a fan of resolving quests just by tactfully picking dialogue options, so that's pretty prevalent in this game, provided you spec your character that way.
I talked my way into an old lady's pants,
Nice.
and she gave me some caffeine pills.
Hell
so
yeah.
You can do anything.
Actually, wait, that's a bit of a backhanded compliment. If you get done banging someone, then like you could